Ain't nobody coming into your square and doing nothing to you. And I remember watching his internet saying to myself, like, yo, I'm gonna represent like that from the female perspective. Like, yo, I'm gonna be like that. He's a warrior. I can tell public enemy them with you. Without this brother right here. So he, since then, has relocated to Atlanta. I don't know if you all know. He and his wife are doing a lot of big things. He's married to an artist by the name of Soleil. She's doing some big things in Atlanta as well. So I definitely want to support him. You want to have the yin and the yang. So, you know, you'll get on Facebook or Instagram and you follow Soleil just as well as you follow Professor Griff, because they're both out here doing the work for the masculine energy and for the female energy. So again, he's bringing us knowledge and jewels, you know, for, I can't even describe it, how he's just into humanitarianism, and he basically coming to us and giving us these jewels for something that he would not normally charge other people. You get blessed with this. So I definitely want us to get our eyes and ears ready again. If you got your notes, get your notes back up. We're going to take some notes. And,
hey, Griff, can I take one by yourself?
Drop some serious knowledge on us about this wealth movement and this health movement that will make us wealthy as well. So again, you all know him, we love him, we're going to continue to support him. Can you put your hands together for Professor Griff?
Thank you very much. Let's give her a round of applause. Let's give our good brother, Dr. Scott Whitaker, a well-deserved round of applause. Scott did it. All right, divine name of the supreme being, I want to greet everyone with civilized greetings. Assalamu alaikum, peace, shalom, hotep, whatever greeting that you may go by, whatever school of thought that you are from. All right, what I need everybody to do is kind of look around the room and find a very unfamiliar face. Not me, look around the room. I'll be here for a minute. I need everyone to stand up and greet 3 people. Can we do that? All right, now brothers, if you hugging somebody's wife, chill with that, all right? Just shake her hand or something, or just give us some dap, yeah. We have to make sure we let Omar and his wife know that we thoroughly appreciate them, and we thoroughly support them. Let's give them a round of applause. And while we're clapping our hands, let's continue to give an applause to everyone that assists them. And give yourselves a round of applause, so we could be doing something else today. Isn't it spring break or something? Yeah? No? Things are now March Madness and all this other madness? Okay. Maybe that's the other crowd. Maybe it's empty seats that are not here. Yeah. All right, well, I got 2 things I want to discuss today. I know we have a particular topic that we wanted to talk about dealing with veganism and how it sustains generations and traditions, especially coming off the continent of Africa. I said to myself, I know Doc was going to bring some slides and some other things, and I was going to let him handle that particular part of the conversation while I talk about my book, The Warrior's Tapestry. There's some other things I want to go over. I expressed to Khalid El-Hakim, the founder and the curator of the Black History 101 Mobile Museum, that I would kind of go over some aspects of what we've been doing since we just got off tour. And the last date that we had was a very instrumental and very critical date that we had. We had a meeting with a Jewish rabbi and some people at the synagogue, which was a very healthy conversation for me, because I think OPO and a few other people, Doc, can probably tell you, since the time that, I got booted at a Public Enemy, and I wrote in my book, which is on the table, the first chapter deals with the whole idea of being anti-Semite. So at that last meeting, I had the, I had the opportunity to speak to Jewish people, which was a beautiful thing. And before I got there, I was like, you sure we want to be open and honest with lots of things? I'm like, because that can be very risky. You understand what I'm saying? I said, well, what do I have to lose? Because the label that's been stuck on me for the last, since the 80s, that I'm anti-Semite is like stemmed from one conversation that I had with a Negro, yeah, I said that right, who had a white Jewish girlfriend. And, but because of what I said, being very critical of the state of Israel, not everyone in the daggone state, of course, I have 100 books with me because I'm the Minister of Information, and that's what I did at the time, because computers and all this stuff wasn't necessarily popular then, and I laid it all out, and because of that one interview, I got labeled as an anti-Semite. So I would go and get invited to places, and then when they Google me and look me up and all that kind of thing, I get there and they won't even let me speak. They'll cancel the date. Yeah, whispering some people. And this is what happened on this trip. I went and was invited, had a conversation. Everything was a green light. And the rabbi, when I got there, pulled me aside and said, I've gotten quite a few calls about you, but I wanted to meet you for myself to see who they talking about. I was looking for this big dude. He's like, so we sat down and we talked, and he's like, regardless of what you said then, I want to hear what you have to say now. You understand what I'm saying? And I want to get to the meat of what you said, because even if you said something that was derogatory in reference to the state of Israel, what is wrong with having a dialogue about it? A meaningful dialogue. I probably wouldn't agree with anybody in this room on everything. Am I right or wrong? I'm sure you're not going to agree with me once I finish with everything I have to say. But what's wrong with being mature adults and having a dialogue, a respectful dialogue? So I said in that particular meeting, I said, well, this is the environment to have it in. What's wrong with that? Outside of this room, we're angry, we're hostile. We use our power of the media to control and manipulate. We use the lobbyists and the lobbies that we have and the money that we use and organizations that we've made very strong to influence politicians. So the real conversation is not happening outside of these small groups. One question I posed, I said, if I had a conversation with a Jewish man or a woman, and I explained to them that the Semitic languages, talking linguistics now, the Semitic languages stand squarely on the shoulder of North Africa and in that particular region right there. So if the Semitic languages are born in that particular region, and I'm Black African, how can and then that's the Semitic languages, how can I be anti-self? Help me out. So then is anti-Semitic become anti-Jewish and I hate Jewish people, or is anti-Semitic anti-Semitic? Because if you're saying that I'm an anti-Semite, then that means I'm anti all the Semitic languages, all the Semitic people, all of the tribes, and that would include myself. So y'all help me out. So I wrote it in my first book, second book, pardon me, Analytics. I say it was my first book because the first book was The Psychological Covert War on Hip Hop. But that book was in my computer when they burned my house down. So, but because I couldn't retrieve the book again, I ended up writing Analytics, which ultimately was the first book. And then I got The Psychological Covert War out. And that's a long story how I ended up getting that book back out. But I didn't write the first chapter to challenge Jewish people. I wrote the first chapter to challenge us. Because it was a nigrous, is a better way to say that, but we're in a mosque. Heard of a university called Gonzaga? They flew, huh? Yeah, good. They flew me all the way to Gonzaga in the snow, in the dead of winter, all right, to come speak. Not knowing that I'm that Professor Griff. I got there and it was a discussion about, can this generation produce the next Martin, Malcolm, and Muhammad? Can you imagine that discussion? They're inviting me and I'm ready, coming to speak, got my PowerPoint ready. I get there and they says, well, we're sorry, we can't let you speak. Who do I have to talk to? I mean, well, no, the president, they're not available and blah, blah, blah. And these are black people telling me this. So you know what I did that night? I snuck into the lecture, which I wasn't supposed to speak at. So I'm sitting in the audience watching them talk about me not doing the lecture. I said, Negroes, it is a damn shame. So we so scared of the idea of not pleasing our slave masters' children. We won't even speak up for ourselves. It's sad simply because I was willing to pay people out of my own, no, not out of my pocket, out of Dr. Scott Whitaker's pocket, to prove what I said in that interview wrong. So I had a long conversation with David Mills, who ended up dropping dead on a movie set. That was the gentleman that did the interview with me. And what came out of that particular talk was a long hour and 15 minutes conversation. So now all of a sudden, because he dropped dead and someone else has his personal effects, all of a sudden the mysterious tape of him recording my conversations came up missing. Can't find it now. My copy is gone because my house burned down. So he was the only one with the only copy of that conversation. So in that conversation, I'm having a nice, peaceful, understanding conversation like we're having right now. Out of the conversation, when I spoke about what the Zionists were doing there in Israel, as far as applying the degree of pressure that he was putting on the Palestinians and making their lives miserable, I talked about that. And at that particular time, you can roll your mind back to the 80s, what was going on in that particular region. They were actually bombing like they're doing now and coming into Palestine. They was actually taking certain territories that they needed. They said that they needed, military-wise to protect the state of Israel from being attacked. And they were going into Palestine, just murdering leaders and bombs and all this other kind of stuff. So, but because a young black man at this time, I was in my 20s now, mind you, 58 now, when I was speaking on this, I made mention of that particular fact. And I said, so you mean to tell me, Jewish people, that it's all right for the Israeli soldiers to go into Palestine and murder leaders and murder people and not be held accountable, and the rest of the world, how it reverbs through the rest of the world and the global community, we're not supposed to react to that and have anything to say about it? So I said, well, it was the flip side. What if Palestinians were going into Israel murdering kids and children and women and that kind of thing? Would that be all right? So that line right there is the line that they took from my conversation and put it out there. Professor Griff says it's all right for Palestinians to go into Israel and kill Jews. So that stuck with me all of this time, and I'm 58 right now. I'm doing business with black people in corporate America, and this conversation comes up. Right now, if you take out your phones and Google my name, that comes up. Now, you know we don't control Google. So everything I've done since then, all right, it doesn't matter. You hate white people. You hate gays, you hate Jewish people, you can't find that in any of my talks. Charlie back here will tell you. Because I don't roll that way. That's a very immature conversation when you become of age. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when I was a child, in my 20s, I spoke as a child. But I'm a grown man. You understand what I'm saying? And even on my show, Serious Minds, we elevate the conversation. We let people know we don't get on here talking about people. If we talk about certain situations which involve people, that we can elevate the consciousness and raise the vibrational pitch of the consciousness of the people, then we can draw something and get something out of that particular dialogue. But if not, we're not going to be sitting on there talking about, well, Kanye West was an exception, but that was a special situation, him and Trump. We'll talk about that in a minute. So what I wanted to talk about was briefly, I want to do an overview of my book, The Warrior's Tapestry. I said all that in reference to that conversation in the Black History 101 Mobile Museum for a reason. I put this book together in October of last year. This Saturday morning, which was yesterday at 10:30, is when Amazon finally approved it. Now you tell me anybody else that has produced books, including Dr. Scott Whitaker, who else has this issue? Nobody. Absolutely nobody. The release date was November 11th of last year. I just got it approved. How's that? Okay, so it was on CreateSpace. I hope they're not watching. In case they are, it's good. Amazon purchased and acquired CreateSpace. You have to change your account, the whole thing that they make you do. Fine. Every book that you see on the table that I've written and produced, all right, finally got the green light. And I asked other authors and other people that put books together, are you having the same problem? It's like, nah, not really. So not only the fact they punish you for speaking up and speaking out, all right, and defending yourself and defending your people, it's the same thing now that's happening in hip hop. All right, so the rappers that you're hearing now are actually rewarded for keeping the same, regurgitating the same kind of things, which we can't even really talk about in the mosque. Are you following me? So what I did was, in the conversation at the synagogue, was saying, now wait a minute. Here we are standing on stage today having this conversation. It's white people, Asians, black people in the room. At that particular time, it was right up in Chester, PA. And I said, you mean to tell me I'm standing on stage right now? I'm not supposed to speak about Jewish people that run and control the music industry and these particular labels that's pushing and pumping and pushing these artists out there, pumping money into these artists that's openly selling drugs on wax. On digital downloads. Openly telling kids to do Molly and Percocet. Openly doing this. And no one's supposed to say anything? Just let it fly? Do you understand what I'm saying? So now, when I'm speaking up, the people that are giving me the pushbacks are some of the old heads that are in hip-hop. I ain't gonna mention no names, although I'd like to, I'm just itching. You're showing on itch right now? No, I can't do that. It might hurt somebody's feelings in there. Malcolm said, when you throw a rock in the crowd of dogs, the only one to holler is the one that get hit. Exactly. So I don't want y'all ducking and all that kind of stuff, bombing and weaving. I'm saying, come on, man. You heard of Meek Mills? Good dude. You understand what I'm saying? I'm riding for him, but Meek Mills is not the voice of the voiceless. See, look how quiet the guy is. See? Don't front on me. I know. Yo. You do more shouting and yelling and flipping and all that stuff in church. So stop. No, this is Professor Griff. I come from a group called Public Enemy, not Public Friend. You can't fool me with that. I'm on the streets every day, so no. I haven't even heard of a Meek Mills until recently. And then when I did hear of Meek Mills, he was doing his thing musically, but I never heard him on the other scene. So how does he become the voice of the voiceless? And so when I heard that statement coming from somebody that I know y'all respect in the music industry, I went to go looking for it. Couldn't find it. Then I was asking people around me, well, what is he saying that he's the voice of the voiceless? I'm not picking on Meek Mills. I got love for the brother. So, yeah, but it depends on really who has the key. Because obviously I don't, because I don't control media and now social media. You understand what I'm saying? Which somebody in this audience could say, I'm going to send this to Meek Mills and twist it up, and I end up looking like the bad guy. So now when Meek Mills go to meet me, huffing and puffing, stop that. I'm 40 and on, I tell y'all straight up, man. But you're a cool dude, but I'm saying, no, he's not the voice of the voiceless. Because Professor Griffin went to jail and then somebody post bail for me with a crooked judge and a helicopter come pick me up in the middle of the prison. You're gonna help me out. No, this is real. You asked me to mention one. I didn't mention him yet, but I'm using the Meek Mill situation as an example. Love the brother. I really don't understand the work because I'm not into that kind of music. But I'm saying, the brother in and out of jail and that to get a raw deal is the criminal justice system, something that Public Enemy and myself we spoke about. All right? But I'm saying to you, Jay-Z cannot put up bail money for Professor Griff and a helicopter come pick me up. All right? And then 6 months later, you name in the street and a weekend after me? So the one like, when you take the mic, because maybe I'm wrong. Professor Griff Boulevard. That would be nice, Professor Griff Boulevard, right? No, absolutely not. We only get that when we're dead after they murdered us. And they'll name a dirty little street after you. Go anywhere in America look at Martin Luther King Boulevard. Drug dealing, prostitution, homelessness, am I right or wrong? So stop playing. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm watching these people get the keys to the city and all this other kind of stuff. When we got real brothers that's on the front lines putting in real work. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not a mention of us. What do you think is going on now? See now, but because you put up a meme on Facebook or social media, or you might put up a little slogan, or you might take a picture with somebody and put up a couple of posts. Now you're the new black leader.
You tell.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. And no, there's more to it than that. And we have to understand that particular dynamic. It's the people that's manipulating and controlling the music industry, all right, that are handpicking these people that don't know their elbow, that want to make these people the leaders to lead black people. All right? So let's understand that dynamic as I get into this. One of the reasons why I put this book together with writing, like notes on napkins and pieces of paper. I put my phone number out there, 678-557-2919. People call me, have conversations. I said, wow, I'm getting an influx of calls. So let me start writing down some of the concerns, mainly from women. Brothers be complaining about how the women not really into the conscious stuff, whatever. But they ain't finished playing. They grown males, pretend like they grown men. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I'm writing notes. So originally the book was supposed to be some photocopy notes that I was going to put together in my own handwriting, which I thought was kind of different. All right, that didn't work out. So I put it down using what's already out there. It's just unwrapping that package in a language that I know we all can understand. Now keep in mind, the book is for a 14-year-old. Are you follow what I'm saying? I wanted to put it in the hands of parents, so parents can meet the 14-year-old where they are, not where we are. Look around the room and tell me any 14-year-olds that's in this room. Hold on, maybe they don't believe me. There ain't no 14-year-olds in this room. Precisely my daggone point. Why aren't they here? They're tired of boring, long lectures. They're not graphic. It's not fun. It's not fly. It's not dope. It's not any of them daggone things. You understand what I'm saying? It don't resonate with them. They're probably still in the bed or just waking up right now. And then we as parents and grandparents, we don't want to wake them up because we don't want to bother them. Because they might come here and end up staying on their phones. Can't get their face. There's a book out. I believe I mentioned it in the book called Glow Face. That blue light that stays in their face all day long. You understand what I'm saying? And it's a very real thing. So I asked this question. Someone saw the book. I'm not going to tell the story about it, by the way. Someone saw the book, and it was very shrewdly put. Thank you, sir. Now, this is cute, nice, and neat. It wasn't in this form a minute ago because, I had some handwritten notes because I wanted to make it personal. I wanted to put in the book exactly what I told people over the phone. All right, so someone saw it and criticized it and said, you have a copy and paste, photocopy stuff in the book. I said, well, what do you think the 14-year-old is doing online reading memes? That's all that is, right or wrong. So I said, well, let me put the book in that way, maybe I'll keep their attention. It's not written in chapters, it's written in pages. As a matter of fact, I didn't even write it. You know what I did? I approached it as an artist instead of a writer. Because I'm trying to meet the 14-year-old where they are. Not where I'm at 58. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's very important. And this is where we make the mistake. All right? So in trying to understand some of the music that my 20-year-old, 21-year-old listens to, I never tell them to stop listening to the music. All right? This is what they expect the parents to do. I don't do that. I say, well, what are you listening to? Let me listen to it. And then at that particular moment, it's a teachable moment. I got their attention. We engaged. The beats are fly because they're African. I'm vibing. But it's now a European word over the African drum, which calls cognitive dissonance. Come on, help me out. So now two conflicting thoughts fighting for that space. You understand what I'm saying? And guess who wins? No, think for a second. Don't. Yeah, just process it for a second. You got African drums. You know, your body's reacting. Your natural African senses are reacting to it because it's natural to you. All right? If you study the nine organs in the body and the pulsation of the 9 organs in the body, all right, it probably beat at probably 72 beats per minute. That's normal. We can vibe to that. Now imagine taking the European word, low vibration now, none conscious, none positive. You take that and put it over the beat. You got it. Now they're confused. Gender confusion, don't know what to eat. All right? Just an array of things which I'm going to go over in 1 second. And that's where they want you at a state of confusion because now they can teach and preach to the subconscious. What do you think is hiding behind some of the beats now? Subliminal messages. You understand what I'm saying? So Bobby Hennessy says, now you got a whole entire generation like automatons. All right? And they're on autopilot. And they're doing what the next MC is doing because the next MC got a Maybach, platinum, gold, platinum. I saw it for myself, me and my wife, yesterday at Whole Foods. It was a platinum, gold, platinum Bentley. And we was like, no, we're going to go find out who car this is because I got to meet this individual. Because that's screaming attention. Give me some damn attention. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like they see this rapper, rich and famous now, and they want to be him. Whatever he did to get that, I want to do the same thing. Now, if you're my age, help me out. When we were coming up, we listened to hip hop, you could not sound like the next artist, am I right or wrong? You will get punished for that. You 26 years old? Trust me, bro. I got a fly right back in green belt on. I can't even whip you with this. Need one of them little leather ones. You will get punished for that. If you came out sounding like the next MC, oh, bro, you get it handed to you, man.
That's right, ain't no biting.
Exactly. We call it beat bite. You have to have your own style. If we caught you, we would run up on stage and take the damn mic. Are you following what I'm saying? And that's real. It's your own style, man. You understand what I'm saying? And this was a tradition coming up in hip hop. Now, everybody has to sound like everyone else. Why do you think we have the friction now between Nicki Minaj and Cardi B? Because when they downloaded the Diva program, after all the beautiful divas that came before them, I'm talking about the Aretha Franklins, the real divas, Diana Ross, excuse me. All the Freudian slip. Anyway, so the Diva program that was downloaded got infected. And they had to kind of come back and, clean it up. And then when they downloaded the Diva program again, Little Kim got spit out. And then they started manufacturing everyone that the Little Kims of the world. And since she's Asian now, hold on, let me finish this. Y'all killing me. So then now she's Asian, so now they had to download another diva, which ended up being Nicki Minaj. Did you see the other Nicki Minaj, the original one?
The original.
Looks nothing like this one, but we're not talking about people. Y'all hold on YouTube, chill for a second.
We speak the truth.
Okay, so then now, that's on its way out, and now they're ushering in the foul-mouthed Cardi B, who just accepted a role as a stripper in a movie. Now, what's the program now for young little girls now? Come on now, see, that's going to be the thing that you have to aspire to now in order for you to be successful. Are you following what I'm saying? So the Warriors Tapestry is right on time because I want to put this in the hands of those mothers now to stop paying attention to the 14-year-old. All right? Let me tell you something. In my house growing up, you couldn't close no doors. Did that happen in your house? My mother would be like, you don't close no doors. What you need the door closed for? You understand what I'm saying? I don't know where y'all grew up, but Miss Griff didn't play that. And the whole idea of you carrying around a $500–600 cell phone and you got apps, out of the question. Nah, man. It didn't work that way. We had 2 TVs in the house. And when my mom said turn them off, you turn them off. My mom ruled with an iron fist. There's 13 of us. But we had one black cell phone that was in the hallway right outside her room. And you had to wait till after 7 o'clock to make long distance calls because it was expensive. Y'all remember that? Okay, let me move on with the lecture. Y'all killing me. A warrior's tapestry. I called it a warrior's tapestry simply because I'm trying to invoke the warrior that I know that lies within all of us. A question that I ask in the book: who's the most important person in this room right now? You are, right or wrong, not me, not Doc. Exactly, you are. And we have to understand that particular concept. All right, so with that said, if I came in front of everyone today and said, listen, how y'all doing? Peace, good afternoon. I'm God having a human experience called Griff. On Sunday, at the mosque, saying that. Some people are thinking blasphemy, some people are thinking, no, we don't do that. Some people are stuck in their religious box and they won't allow me to get away with that. So when I had the discussion about what I wanted to talk about, opening up, my wife said, well, why don't you talk about this? And she sent me a message. Can I read it to you?
Sure. Yeah.
Uh-oh, we might not be able to do that because my glasses. Oh, you got some? Let me borrow. I don't know what strength they are. If I pass out, I'll be. Let's see. Oh, man, it worked. Yeah. I ain't gonna be no fashion box. Professor Griff is wearing red with black and green. It's a designer glass. Yeah, stop that. Anyway. Here we go. Not the whole thing, but part in references. She says, make sure you piece this apart. And she says, be mindful of your tongue. It's the English language, man. All right, to gain maximum benefit, please suspend the judgment of your internal English teacher. Can we do that? Yeah. You understand what I meant by that? Okay. Because we had to get graded in school, right? All right, and it's kind of like they don't teach you what to think, they teach you how to think. Okay, keep that in mind. Okay, lay the bits. Here we go. All right, so once again, to gain the maximum benefit, please suspend the judgment of your internal English teacher. The form of this work is not due to sloppy laziness. Warrior's tapestry. All right? There is a valid reason and a higher consciousness for the unusual form. All right, a gentleman by the name of Alfred Korzybski, all right, the famous semantist, all right, warned in his book to observe the limiting nature of the subject-object construction of the English language. I call it the bastard language. It's made up of different languages. One word can mean 5 or 6 different things. Am I right or wrong? Okay, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It's the limited nature, all right, of the English language, which forces us to think in terms of cause and effect without regard to relationship. The words that you use on a daily and consistent basis, which should consist of 400 words that each one of us should be able to use well from the English language. That the ones that we use every day probably amount to about 50. That's it. What relationship do those words have to nature? Help me out. Give me one. I'm going to mess your glasses up. I owe you. Give me one. Give me a phrase.
Wake it up.
Okay, give me, put it in a phrase. Put it in a sentence. How about I love you? Can we say I love you? Okay, so what is it about the people that gave us the English language that forced it on us? What is it that you can honestly say that they love? Because they against everything in nature. They kill birds, wind, they control the weather, everything in the sea. They done bomb the land, they done killed every person, taking all the natural resources. What is it that they love? Give me something that they can relate to in nature. These people love what? No, they don't even love themselves. themselves. They was in a 100-year war. They had World War I, World War II, civil wars. They still at war. There's approximately 50 covert wars that are going on the planet right now that you know absolutely nothing about because you don't study foreign policy. What do they love? You see, you can't even relate that to anything in nature. You can't say they love the damn whales. Now they got these Save the World kind of Save the Whale program. Save the rare tiger while they're killing elephants and shooting down giraffes. Am I right or wrong? What is it that they love? I know I'm getting kind of hostile up here. They don't even love themselves. They love killing. Control. Exactly. We have to understand this particular dynamic and what the English language is offering us. Let me finish. Hold on. It says, which forces us to think in terms of the cause and effect without regard to relationship. So the author warned us that we will not grasp the nature of reality until we recognize the intrinsic limitation of the way our language structures reality. It don't speak to a black, a Muslim, Islamic, and I'm just calling out for what it is. This reality that we live, if you black, especially if you black and you're Muslim, it don't speak to your reality. What part of the evening news from the bobbleheads, the alphabet boys speak to your reality? If you're a black woman, what aspect of the news or the English language speaks to that? Ariel Spilsbury, referencing her work, The Alchemy of Ecstasy, said, in the point to be connected or there to be connected to the higher good in allowing the words to overcome their limitations by letting them speak for themselves. The words can't speak for themselves. The words are dead. The English language is dead. I can't even turn to my black brother right here who's half my age and say, you know something, I love you, man, without him thinking I'm gay. Right or wrong? I can truly mean that, but you put that in a whole other category. And tap dude next to him like, yo, this is something wrong with Griff. You understand what I'm saying? But it's genuine. I walked with Muslims and held their hand. Men. Because we don't vibe like that. We don't have that kind of understanding of what it means to love one another. So the idea of being questioned about holding a white Muslim's hand, right? Muslims, my brother. Well, how could he be a Muslim and be white and be your brother? I told you he was black, pro-black, RBG, red, black, green, whatever. I said, why not? He'd be my brother in the faith. So I said, we need to grow the hell up, for real. We really, truly do. We keep regurgitating the same third grade conversation that we keep having at the damn water fountain at work. But anyway. Last but not least, it says, in the feelings they create, the words require a certain feeling of rhythm, cadence, which the divine chose. So who am I, or who are you, when we actually quote certain things from the English language. She also said the word carries us way out of regular English usage into a whole other pattern of frequency and light information reception. Are you following what I'm saying? So even when, well, let's give a round of applause to my wife. Thank you very much, wife. I really appreciate that. When we say one thing, we really mean another, when we communicate with one another. Because, thank you very much, really appreciate that. Because that's what the English language will allow you to do. So I said a warrior's tapestry, and I wasn't being funny. If you know what a tapestry is, I kind of wove it together with real life experience. I don't know the people that was on the other end of the phone. I'm trying to help a woman who I hear about to jump off the bridge because she can't control a 13-year-old. And I'm trying to offer some help. All right, here we go. Let me see if this works. With that said, I just released my single, Behind Enemy Minds. And what I attempted to do was make my word bond. All right? Make it manifest. Because I don't want to be one of the talkers, I want to be one of the walkers. So my last two videos that I shot, and my wife's last two videos that she shot, were all done by young people in their 20s. Are you following what I'm saying? Because we're trying to work with them, we're trying to see what lens y'all are viewing life through. Because we want to participate and we want to help. So let's understand this particular dynamic. All right? Now, buckle your seatbelt for this woman that shot my video, 21 years old. All right, beautiful young sister, smart, gay, and I know people was like, Griff, like, can we talk? Nah, bro, hold on for a second. If we are elders in the community, and I see that situation and that thing happening in my family, outside of my family's friends, and whatever, do we sit back and condemn them? Or do we love all of our people, regardless of what condition they're in? I need y'all to answer that. I need y'all to help me out. Excuse me? We have to. If we're going to save our people, we're going to go get our people, whatever condition that they're in. The wino, the drunker, the dude that has sex too much, the other dude that smoke too much weed, everyone. Am I right or wrong? So they condemn Griff because I want to work with the people that I feel need the help the most, even though they don't even think that they need help.
Right. You look like a good bad guy. Can I say that?
You can say that. I don't know where the volume is, but I guess we're not going to play it today. Maybe Umar can help us out because I got a few other things that we need to play. Maybe it's me. No, I don't think it is. Anyway, let me move through this real quick. All right, let me introduce myself. I'm God having a human experience called Griff. John Henry Clark said, a good teacher, like a good entertainer, first must hold the audience attention. He can teach, and then he can teach his particular lesson. So one of the first couple of pages that I put on the book, I put in the book, I put your name and face goes here. God or God is having a human experience called you, whatever your name is. All right? And then I put at the bottom, temporarily closed for spiritual maintenance. A lot of people have this spiritually transmitted diseases. You understand what I'm saying? That we need to just shut it down for a minute. All right? And have our spirituality, do not get spirituality confused with religion.
Go ahead.
All right? Let's not do that.
Go ahead.
Okay. So let me move forward. And I dedicated the book to this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman right here, Miss Winnie Mandela. Let's give her a round of applause. She said, there is no longer anything I fear. I can fear. There is nothing the government has not done to me that isn't any pain I have already known. And this beautiful woman right here, Dr. Frances Cress-Wilson, let's give her a round of applause. And last but not least, this beautiful sister right here, Miss Tanetta Muhammad, Mother Tanetta Muhammad. So I go into it talking about the warriors that I admire. And I admire Ya Asantewaa. That when they sat on the throne in her village in the kingdom, all right, that she entrusted to the men to secure the kingdom, they took the throne and sat their flabby behinds on the kingstone, the Ashanti throne. You don't dare do that. You don't come in someone else's house and sit on the king's throne. So when she had the meeting with the men and the men wouldn't rise up to go take the throne back from the invaders, she gathered the women together and went to war with them. Let's give her a round of applause. Ya Asantewaa, Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman said she freed thousands of slaves. She would have freed thousands more that only knew they were slaves. Some of the Negroes didn't even know they was enslaved. They just thought it was, you know, that's what it was.
Same thing today.
Exactly. Same thing today. Someone said something in reference to me about why, because I mentioned it on my show, why don't I ever go to the drive-thru? I said, first of all, I don't really eat at fast food restaurants. And then I'm not going to the drive-thru, because do you know the history of the drive-thru window? Okay, yeah, they used to, I mean, they didn't even want to see your face. They would just pass the food. You don't know what they did to that food through the drive-thru. Now you go back there willingly. I mean, McDevil's, Murder King, Drunken Donuts, Pizza Slut, Long John Killers. You understand what I'm saying?